Hi, my name is Bailey Hoke. I'm the co-owner of Tips, and I'm the creator of Tips Tools, which is our new all-in-one compliance dashboard. This is going to be a quick demo video where I'm going to walk you through the core features of the platform, so that way you can decide if Tips Tools is the right choice for managing your fleet, drivers, and compliance requirements. First off is going to be the company workspace. Tips Tools checks your information on file with the FMCSA on a daily basis. When information changes, like your DOT number status, safety scores, or number of drivers and vehicles, those changes are visible instantly on this page. You're also going to receive notifications in your dashboard notifying you what changed and when. At the top of the page, we have a summary of your operational information, and then each section below that is broken down by category. So we have company information, your fleet and drivers, your safety scores, and if you have an authority, you'll also see things like your VOC3 filing, authority history, and then insurance policies, including both liability and cargo insurance. This page is built as a summary of all of your operational information, so that way you can always stay up to date with the information that the FMCSA has on file for your company. And on the drivers tab is where managing your fleet and personnel information is going to start. You can see a summary of both your active and terminated drivers for FMCSA record keeping purposes, and you can view the critical information about each of those drivers in the dashboard. So for example, we have a list of drivers here. We can see when they had a driver qualification file completed, when they were enrolled in drug testing, and when their pre-employment clearinghouse query was completed. And if we click on one of those drivers, we can see more information about them and manage it. So if we click on Dominic here, we can see more information about him, including things like when he was hired, his licensing and endorsement information, and so on. And editing this information is as simple as clicking the button, filling in the information, and then hitting save. Now you'll see here that some of these are marked as managed by client and some are managed by Tips. If Tips is handling things like driver qualification files, drug and alcohol testing, or clearinghouse queries, they're going to be set to be managed by Tips by default. And this is to ensure that A, you don't have to track that information or keep it up to date yourself. That's something that we're doing for you, but also to ensure that the information that's in Tips Tools doesn't get out of sync with what we have on file. And if something is managed by us, you can still request updates to that information by simply hitting Request Edit, filling in that information, and then submitting the request. And as we can see up here, we now have 2 open requests. That means that we now have a message in our dashboard asking whether or not we want to approve those changes. But for anything that's set to be managed by you, you have full and complete control over that information. Now, maybe you want to track some information per driver that might not be useful for other companies using Tips Tools. For that reason, you can create custom fields. So if we scroll down, we can see that there's already a custom field for this company where they've decided to track whether or not a driver has been hazmat trained or not. And if we go and click on any one of these drivers in here, we can see whether or not they were hazmat trained. And we can update that status by simply hitting edit, clicking the box, and then hitting save. There's multiple options for custom fields, and you can theoretically create however many you want. Now, something that you're going to find is consistent across all 3 driver, vehicle, and trailer tabs is that you'll see some that are managed by Tips and some that are managed by client, as well as the ability to add custom fields. So adding custom fields isn't specific to just drivers. You can also track custom information for both vehicles and trailers. And lastly, our newest feature is the ability to search through these rosters for both drivers, vehicles, and trailers, as well as both filter and create reports based on the information that's in the dashboard. So if we go ahead and click on filters and reports, we can see that we can set things to only show active or terminated drivers, including pending requests, ones that are managed by us or managed by you. We can check for drivers whose licenses or driver qualification files are expiring soon. We can see whether they're expiring within the next 30, 60, or 90 days. And we can generate custom reports that are pulled from that filter that you create, or you can simply get reports for all records that are listed in the dashboard. And a very powerful tool once your fleet gets big enough is the ability to add custom conditions. So maybe you want to look for people whose driver's licenses are only in a particular state, you could say driver's license state equals Idaho, add that condition, apply it, and it will show you any drivers, vehicles, or trailers matching that filter depending on what tab you're currently in. So as we can see here, based on this filter, the current filter only shows 7 records matching that condition, whereas there are 9 total records. And then moving on to the vehicle and trailers tabs, you'll find that it's very similar to the drivers tabs. You can track information per vehicle, see who it's managed by, and update that information accordingly. And like I mentioned, both the custom fields and the filter and reporting feature are applicable for all 3 of these tabs. And the requirements tab is kind of a catch-all for anything that doesn't fit neatly into the driver, vehicle, and trailers tabs. So for example, things like your UCR filing or 2290, those are going to live in the requirements tab and are broken down into sections of whether you're responsible for it or whether it's something that we're handling for you. And then lastly, on the Documents tab, you can both upload files to us and see what files that we've uploaded to you. And once it's in Tips Tools, all you need to do is click on one of the files in order to download it to your computer or phone. Now, just like the company information page shows data about your company from the FMCSA systems, the search feature in Tips Tools behaves almost exactly the same. You can put in any DOT number, like other carriers or even brokers you're considering working with, and get up-to-date real-time information that the FMCSA has on file for them, including things like their safety rating. Now, one of the best features about Tips Tools is our compliance calendar. Now, everyone's calendar is already pre-filled with some important dates, like when if to quarterly filings are due, when 2290s need to be renewed, and what the deadline is for the UCR filing each year. Besides things that are baked into everyone's calendar, when you have something like a driver's license that's expiring soon or drug and alcohol testing that needs to be renewed, you're going to see a badge just like this one in your compliance calendar. So that way you can look at any month and see what dates you need to pay attention to for that time frame. So on the left-hand side here, obviously we have the calendar, and then on the right-hand side, we have a summary of those events for this period with some additional information. Now, one of the most powerful parts about this is the ability to create custom calendar events. So if we scroll down, we can see you can add a custom event. You can set the name of it, which will be this name here. You can set the label, which you will see here. You can set a start and optional end date, and you can even choose to display a chip on every single day or ones where it's just a start and a deadline, like maybe an enrollment period opens and then enrollment period ends. And then the detail here is just going to be for this text that you see underneath the event title. And if we scroll down a little bit further, you can see all of the custom events that you've created and choose to edit them or delete them when they're no longer needed. The compliance calendar is going to be an extremely useful tool to make sure that you're not missing important deadlines and you're tracking important events correctly. Next up is going to be the knowledge base, which essentially is a repository of articles and other useful information that we've created based on frequently asked questions or things that we know that comes up for a lot of carriers that we work with. On the main page here, we can see that we have some pages that are pinned, like getting started, managing your drivers, managing vehicles and trailers, and so on. These pinned articles are essentially the guides that you can read to learn how to use Tips Tools and navigate the platform. And if we open the directory here, we can see a list of all the different articles and knowledge base pages that we've created so far, with many more to come in the future. Now, on the messages page, you're going to be able to see a summary of any messages that we've sent you directly or messages that were sent to you by the automated system when it detects things like DOT number information changing or insurance cancellation deadlines approaching. You can clearly see which ones have been read, which ones are unread, and delete those notifications if they're no longer useful. Now, of course, you can also see this notification bell in the top right that shows you how many unread notifications you have. So every time you log in, it'll be easy to see whether or not you have any messages without actually going to the messages page. And if we click on the new message box here, it will automatically create a message and send it to us so that we can view it in our Tips Tools dashboard. All you need to do is enter a subject line like add a driver and put in the message details here, hit send, and we'll automatically get a notification that you've sent a message. And in the settings page, we're planning on adding new features in the coming weeks to allow you to have more customizability over the way Tips Tools works and operates, including notifications that you want to receive and so on. For now, it's just basic account operations like updating your password or changing the email that you use to sign in. And quick thing to note, if you're not a fan of dark mode like we are, you can always switch to light mode. I'll go ahead and turn that off for now so it's not too blinding. And then last but not least is the homepage, where you can just get a brief summary of your DOT number status, when your last biennial update was filed, any open requests that you've submitted to us that are still pending, as well as any unread messages that you might have. And you'll see the recent messages here as well, just like you can see in the messages page itself. Now, the last thing that I want to go over before the video ends is that we've really built Tips Tools to be not only an all-in-one compliance dashboard for the carriers that we work with, but also an excellent tool for anyone that has a DOT number and wants to keep track of their compliance requirements and manage their fleet. And we're still pretty early in the development period of Tips Tools, so we welcome feature requests and feedback, and we have many more features planned to come in the near future. If you're ready to get started with Tips Tools and taking control of your compliance, you can go to our website, tiproservices.com, and purchase either the monthly subscription or the annual subscription, which you get 3 months free directly from our website. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below and we'll answer them as quick as we can. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in Tips Tools.